It's like Field of Dreams. Build it and they will come. All the bugs. These Yeti cups are no joke. Great. I burned my tongue.
So here we are for our third rendition.
Are we gonna sing?
Yes.
Do we have a ballad? You are gonna sing. Welcome to our channel. My name is Krystal.
And I'm Steve.
And we are going for a garden walk again.
First one this month?
I think so. Yeah, this will be our July garden walk. We've been busy. Busy time of the year, so it's tough getting out here with the camera. But we're doing it today and lots to show you. So this is our third episode of Krystal and Steve walk through the garden at nighttime after dinner. Let's get started. Do you want to start over here or over there?
Let's start on the outside and we'll work our way in.
Over by the chickens first?
Yeah.
Hello, chickens. So here we are over by the kiwis. I planted some purple potted pole beans right in the ground here. And they're doing really good on this cattle panel. So I'm for sure going to be adding a couple more of those to the garden.
Beetles are nuts this year.
Is that good? We have more. Lots of bugs. I'm having a horrible time growing loofah. It's just not in the cards this year. I keep putting seeds in the ground and it's just not working out. I grew a couple transplants and then put them in and then they both got eaten. I direct sowed some seeds over here and it's just not doing anything. I've been readily picking strawberries. It's wonderful. I love having this garden bed here. Fun fact, this started as an herb spiral. I had intended on building an herb spiral. I didn't like the way it turned out, so I ended up just making it into a circle, not knowing what I was going to put here. It worked out perfectly for the strawberries.
Get out of there, stink bug.
Morning glory. I need to build like a really cool trellis for this for next year. And then the zinnia. When are we going to put those in? Poor pear trees. And then I put DE on these sunflower leaves because they are just getting eaten. Just annihilated. I had this problem last year too. These things I grew from seed last year and they came back, so I threw them in the ground here. They're a little crowded. I might have to thin them out. I don't know what they are. Bee balm. I steered clear with the DE. I really don't like to use anything if I can help it, but the bugs give me no choice. Yeah, so the flower garden's coming along and we have a lot of pumpkins growing. Well, no, we have pumpkin plants growing, no pumpkins yet. This one has male flowers on it. And we have our volunteer tomato plants growing out of the compost bin. I have no idea what they are.
You got little tomatoes.
So we'll see what those turn into. It does not look like a cherry variety and it does not look like a Roma or a paste tomato. So I think those might be beefsteak because those were the only three things I grew last year. It's a State Fair winter pumpkin. We have some red tomatoes on our tiny tomato plant. I've been picking those off the past couple of days and they are delicious because I haven't had fresh tomatoes since last year when I grew them. We got some Yukon Gold potatoes in this tiny pot here, and these are just a bunch of different tomato plants. I fertilized all of these plants today. The tomato plants in the containers I fertilized with a liquid soluble fertilizer made by Espoma, specifically for tomatoes, and there was some calcium included in that, so hopefully that will give them a little bit of a boost. And then here's the hot pepper bed. I have jalapenos, poblanos, and pepperoncinis. And those are looking really good. I'm so excited because they're getting to the point where I might be able to start harvesting them, and then you know what that means.
Cowboy candy.
Cowboy candy. Pickled peppers. And over here I have some more in containers. I have I still don't know how to say it, the Leja pepper, the world's sweetest pepper, I guess. They turn bright red. So I'm waiting for that. I have a lot more growing over in the sweet pepper bed, and those ones look a little bit bigger. This is Sunbright peppers. These bush and green beans are going to have to come out soon. They're starting to slow down, so once I do, I'll probably plant carrots over here.
You got some beets.
Or lettuce, because it's nice and shaded. Corn is looking meh. I think the carrots are supposed to come out soon. It has been about 90 days since I planted them, but I don't see anything in there. Carrots are like my onions. I have I have a tough time. I'm gonna try sowing the carrots again in August to see if I can get a fall. Try and get some carrots for fall time, because I've heard that they're really good. When you pick them in the fall, I just haven't had a chance to do that yet because I can't grow them. And our onions are looking kind of sad.
Because of all the rain, right?
Yeah, like that one's done. I gotta pull it out. It's just the rain. I can't wait to do a list of all the favorite varieties that I grew this year
And
so that I can regrow them next year.
pole beans?
These are not pole, these are bush. So they're like those ones down there. These are the same exact ones. These ones are from Fruition Seeds. They're called Provider Bush Snap Bean. And you just have to succession sow the seeds because they don't keep producing. I have a volunteer sunflower that came up over by the watermelon. There was actually a whole bunch of them that came up in one spot, and so I dug them up and I moved them, but only one made it because something kept eating them. And then I planted a couple more Ford Hook zucchini seeds right next to it, and over there I sowed yellow squash seeds too, just to see if I can get a longer harvest into the fall time. And I got some cucumbers. It's a silver slicer and a muncher.
A little watermelon.
Little baby watermelon, sugar baby watermelon.
Is this a sugar baby too?
No, that's an ambrosia. I don't think that should be on a trellis, but we're gonna go for it.
Anything with the kajari?
Yes, they're climbing up, but I don't see anything on them yet. We have cantaloupe, kajari, sugar baby, sweet ambrosia, and crimson sweet. Oh no, August ambrosia, I'm sorry.
That thing's getting huge.
We have a few varieties of winter squash in here. I'm growing two of the same that I grew last year and some new ones. A new one for me is Honey Nut. That's this one here. It's kind of like a butternut, it's just a little bit smaller, slightly different flavor. An acorn squash plant here coming up. That's new for me. And then spaghetti squash right here. We grew that last year too. And they're doing really good. I just have to figure out a way to, I have to find like old pantyhose and stuff to tie some of these up so that the weight of them doesn't pull them off of the vine. I've already had one fall off, and I was reading about it, and I guess you can eat them before they're fully ripened. You can cook them up similar to how you would for summer squash.
Is that big one the spaghetti squash?
Yes.
No ground cherries yet.
The ground cherry plants are full of ground cherries. This is my first year growing them. I knew they get kind of big, but I didn't realize how big these plants get, and I for sure will not be packing them in as tightly as I did this year, next year. Next to the butternut, oh, I see two squash beetles. Will you get the red cup? And our Roma tomatoes, a Space Saver cucumber. I pruned all these today along the bottom. I got rid of all the leaves that are pretty much touching the ground and then tied them up. With Roma tomatoes, I usually don't pull the suckers off of Roma tomatoes. So I kind of let them do what they're gonna do. I just try and keep them tied up, and they seem to do okay that way. In the middle here, these were the 20-gallon fabric pots that I grew the blue Adirondack potatoes in. And I just took some of the extra plants that I have and put in 3 tomato plants, and then I have a jalapeno and an extra honey nut right there. I sowed some radish seeds in there too yesterday. We got some Boston pickling cucumbers.
I'm excited for the refrigerator pickles.
I pruned these summer squash plants heavily today. I sprinkled DE at the base of them, and I gave them heavy doses of fertilizer. The squash beetles are just doing a number on them. Possible vine borers, is that what they're called? I don't know. I actually just ordered stuff from M.I. Gardner that I saw he just did a video on. It's supposed to improve the microbes in the soil. I'll talk about it after I get it, but hopefully that will help them a little bit. I grew all the zucchini last year in containers, and I was able to fully control the soil conditions, and they did really good, but this year I'm having a hard time with them. And then these are the sweet peppers. I got some purple bell peppers in there. They look really good. These are Grand Bell peppers. And these are some Leisure.
Those look good.
Yeah, they look really good. So we just have to wait for them to turn red, and then we'll get to try the world's sweetest pepper. Isn't that exciting?
Yes.
And in the back I have the California Wonder Peppers that are not really doing anything. They're just kind of hanging out. And I have some bullnose pimento peppers right there. And in the Greenstalk, I have yellow squash growing. When I was thinning out the plants, I would pull them out, and sometimes if the roots were intact, I would just stick these in random places around the garden. This one's growing pretty good considering it's in a Greenstalk. Sowed some lettuce seeds down here, spinach, arugula, and then some propagated basil. I started some more basil seeds, more dill seeds, cilantro, a space saver cucumber that's really getting beat up by the beetles. The bug, not the band. And of course I say that, and the thing that pops in my head is, hey, hey, we're the monkeys.
You should have went with it.
I have one Hungarian yellow wax and a couple little ones starting. So that's really exciting. Nothing on the habanero yet. And the Tabasco plant that's back there is still trying to make it.
Is that going to end up being a sucker?
That whole thing is a sucker. The cherry tomato plants, they can get wild pretty easily. As long as it's not going to be where the tomatoes are coming off of. I try and keep them cut back as much as I can. This one I let go to 2 stems to see how it would do, and it's doing it right. It has enough room to do that over here. I sowed some more radishes over here, and then these are rutabagas. When we were in Home Depot last week before last.
It had to be the week before.
Yeah, because
the last time they took their seeds down.
They got rid of the seeds. They took down the whole thing. I want to know what happened to the seeds. We bought a couple seed packets. I wanted to try a couple different varieties of bushing green beans, different from the ones that we already have. But Ferry Morris, this one's what, tender green, and this one is Blue Lake 274. And these are bushing variety green beans. So we'll see how those do.
Oxheart?
The Oxhearts did not fare all the rain well. A lot of them ended up with blossom end rot. I don't know if it has to do with their particular shape.
What are those?
Same thing. I did what I always do, and when I was thinning, I pulled them out and they still had roots attached, so I stuck them in the soil behind me. I planted a couple more purple potted pole beans back here, space saver cucumbers on the ends.
Our apple tree?
It's surviving more Roma tomatoes. They're doing pretty good packed in here as long as I keep the leaves down. So I try and keep the middle aisle here clear, and I keep the base of the plants clear just to keep the airflow going. And so far they're doing okay. Nothing's ripened yet, so these ones are a Martino's Roma, and I really like them a lot. They're just really cool looking and producing really good, all of them. This one is Roma VF, I think from High Mowing. I'm not sure. Oh, blossom end rot. I had just said today in a video that I don't think any of the Roma tomatoes got blossom end rot because I had top dressed them before we got all the rain with fertilizer. I have another sunbright pepper in a container, a mountain princess tomato plant, and another sunrise bumblebee. Sweet potatoes are looking great, and that is a Adirondack blue potato that I planted at the same time as I did the other ones.
This one fell behind.
This one was a little different, yeah. So it still has flowers that are blooming on it. Hasn't really died back yet. Once it does, I'll pull them out. I am really curious to see. Okie dokie, artichoke. Steve, why don't you tell a story?
We walked, we talked, we had a blast.
It's a little boring today.
I don't know how anybody else feels, but the Japanese beetles really make me mad. I have traps everywhere, and they're just avoiding them all. And
Imagine how bad they would be, though, if we didn't have the traps. It'd be even worse. The grindiagias, we haven't had any, I don't even want to say it. We haven't had any hornworms yet on the tomatoes.
we will find them.
It's crazy to me that we don't have any yet. The squash beetles have been out of control this year. Early part of summer, end of spring, the aphids were ridiculous.
They say let them be and the predators will come, but how many ladybugs did we see? Like 3?
We really didn't see that many, and I don't use pesticides that would deter ladybugs, and I wouldn't spray them in an area where I thought ladybugs would be. We have to use that stuff when it's bad bugs are destroying our plants. We have to intervene somehow if nothing is coming to take care of it. You know, we don't buy ladybugs and introduce them into the garden. One, it's a waste of money in our opinion. They're just gonna fly away, most of them. And the other thing is that there are native ladybugs around here. At one point we had them flooding our house one year. Remember that?
Yeah, they like going into our camper too.
They do like going into our camper. One year they were coming in the door sill. Like they were just before we replaced it. They were just pooling in to the point where I had to tape off the door with painter's tape to prevent them from coming in. I had to barricade me and my children indoors to protect us from the ladybug infestation.
From the dreaded ladybugs.
Yeah, there's native ladybugs to our specific spot. We don't really want to introduce ones that aren't, you know, I don't know. It's kind of a loaded topic, but we don't buy the ladybugs. I have seen a lot of different bugs this year that I've never seen before or never paid attention to, and I'm trying to educate myself more on the good stuff. So live and let live. If I'm not sure what it is, I'm not gonna kill it until I've researched it and make sure that they're fine. I've been taking pictures of every single one that I know is bad. I might do like a compilation video of the ones that we've encountered here that I never would have known about before gardening.
I never knew all these bugs. I didn't even know what an aphid was until last year when we started to garden.
I knew what aphids were. When we container gardened, it wasn't like this. It's such a small section. I mean, at one point, I think max we had six of those gray containers. And that was the extent of our vegetable garden, and they were plants that we had bought from the local nursery. And then the seeds I had bought, I tried to direct sell because I didn't know any better. And last year we built this garden, and it's like field of dreams. Build it and they will come. All the bugs. The chickens enjoy it. They get a lot of snacks during the day when I throw them stuff. We've really got to build that chicken tractor. Alright, so that'll do it for this garden walk video. It's kind of boring, but I think it's interesting. I was looking back at our other videos and how fast the garden changes.
Yes, it's nice to see what you started with and where you're at now. It's going to be really interesting in, 3 weeks when it really starts ripening.
Yeah, our next video might be crazy. It's going to be different. If you ended up watching this whole thing, we really appreciate you, and we will see you next time.
Make sure you thumbs up it.
Thumbs up it and subscribe if you're interested in this kind of stuff. We would love to have you, and we appreciate every single one of you that have subscribed and are thinking about subscribing or even just watching. We're not going anywhere that I know of.
Oh, no.
The children are coming.
Oh.
We will see you next time. Bye.